Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you another video. All right, so the Lakers get the victory at Madison Square Garden, 129-123. Overtime basketball game there in New York against the Knicks, and we were really pleased to have won a overtime game. I don't know how many overtime games we've won this season, but I honestly don't remember any of them standing out if we did. Because usually when we go into overtime, we run out of gas, and it's just one of those things where we just don't have it. Tonight, that's not what happened. Even though we had some situations that we would love to have had back throughout the course of the game, mistakes were made here and there, some unforced turnovers, stuff like that. At the end of the day, we were very happy with the way the Lakers executed down the stretch, particularly in overtime. Russell Westbrook did a really good job of doing the things that helped the team. Playing confident, shooting the ball very well, getting the ball to various teammates as usual, but more so down the stretch of the basketball game. In key moments when you needed him to do the good things necessary, he did them tonight. Deferring to LeBron James in certain situations, making sure that AD was getting the ball in the second half. I think most of that was credited to Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook. I got to give them credit for taking it upon themselves to make sure that the team adjusted to getting AD the ball in the second half. We were getting into a real nice rhythm with LeBron James. Bron was in the middle of taking over, doing his thing, and then AD kind of looked at him and said, yo, get me involved. We ran a play down the stretch of the fourth quarter, I think it was like 7 minutes ago, and ran a screen as to which we got a foul called there on AD. And I know that was a bit frustrating for Bron because he's in his groove. He's used to not playing with AD. This is not the time he wanted to be thinking about doing anything for anyone other than himself. And it was one of those situations where it is best for us in the long run to do that. Get out of the habit of trying to take over for, as individuals, and understand the team goal for us is to ultimately find ways of making sure that AD is being utilized in the second half. Because if we can do that, we're going to win games. Because if he's being a factor on both ends of the floor, it makes life a lot harder on the other team. And there's a lot of ways to score. There's a lot of ways to win. But nothing makes us more deadly than having Anthony Davis drawing all the attention away from everybody else and making that be the threat at all times. It makes life so much easier for LeBron James and other players throughout the course of the season as it continues to progress. If teams have to deal with AD and don't know if we're going to be so Bron-centric. So I think tonight we took some really good steps in our chemistry tonight. I thought we were really intentional on doing things that were necessary. And I think even though it took us out of our rhythm, I do believe that it was a direct result to us being successful. I really believe that. I think ultimately trying to get AD the ball down the stretch got us just enough quality possessions on both ends of the floor that helped us beat the Knicks. So I really want to give just credit for LeBron James for just getting the triple-double. I mean, he came out of there with 28 points. I think it was 10 rebounds, 11 assists, something like that. The three-point wasn't there. 2 out of 8, we'd rather not shoot the ball as much from behind the arc if it isn't falling. But I thought he was clutch, and I thought we played a good team ball game down there. Plus and minuses were really strange tonight. Dennis Schroeder had a fantastic plus-minus with plus 20, and the eye test didn't tell me he was doing anything spectacular. I think he had like 14 points, maybe like 3 assists or something like that. But his plus-minus was wildly great. Bron's plus-minus was really good. I think he had like a plus 22 or something like that. Just phenomenal. Even though there were moments down there where I was saying, Bron, don't shoot the ball there, or Bron, rotate a little faster, stuff like that, little stuff that I just felt like had something to do with probably the foot not being there and maybe him just being a little out of rhythm from not playing last night. But, I mean, he was brilliant. The way that the stats ultimately showed, as he played out, not only you walk away with a triple-double and a win, but the plus minus was excellent. So you just got to appreciate what you saw there. Anthony Davis, same thing, man. Our game is predicated on him doing everything. At the end of the day, even though we want Bron to be so much for our team, if Anthony Davis is taking care of business on the defensive end and he's a focal point of what we do on the offensive end, there's no stopping the Lakers. There's no stopping the Lakers. And that's what it shows us. No matter the type of mistakes that we make when he's not on the floor, those are the mistakes that can afford it to be made while he's on the floor because he's going to do so many good things on both sides. You know what I mean? With unforced turnovers and stuff like that, he'll make up for it by going on the other side and getting a rebound, or going on the other side contesting the shot. That keeps the other team from being on balance. So these are the type of things that I'm just super, super excited about in regards to our team. Because when Anthony Davis is healthy, we can just simply get away with more. So there were some things that we need to talk about. Isaiah Hartenstein walked out of there with 5 fouls. He had 5 fouls throughout the fourth quarter, 5 fouls throughout overtime. This happened too many times, Lakers. We have to find a way to get guys who are in foul trouble in that situation off the floor. If we don't do that, it's going to bite us when we need it not to. We got to get in the habit of identifying when people are close to fouling out and make sure that they do. Make sure that they do. I always refer to that Rockets game about 12, 13 years ago where Shane Battier had 5 fouls with like 6 minutes to go and we did not attack him. He ended up getting the game winner. This is one of those situations where that stuck in my head for life. And I always know that it's very important when a guy's in foul trouble, do not let him hang around. So we got away with it tonight. Don't make a habit out of that. 3-point shooting was a problem for the Knicks. They shot 20%. I mean, it was one of those situations where guys that you expected to really ball out didn't account for much. Jericho Sims and Obi Toppin combined for 1 bucket. R.J. Barrett didn't really have it going tonight. It was one of those situations where you were very pleased that the New York Knicks just didn't attack you in ways that you thought they would. Instead, they were heavily relying upon Julius Randle, who shot poorly from behind the arc, and heavily relying upon Jalen Brunson, who attempted 27 shots. So these are the type of things that I thought played right into the Lakers' hands. It's like, if that's going to be your offensive attack with all of those weapons that you got, we're going to beat you. We're going to beat you. And I thought we played some pretty solid defense tonight. I think we won the rebound in total by 1. If you look at the stats, the field goals and the rebounding, most of the stats were pretty much even throughout the entire game, which is why I thought this would be a close game, which is why I thought this would be one of those games if you didn't do enough all the way throughout the entire game, you would lose. And I was right. We made 1 or 2 more plays than that team. We did 1 or 2 more things right than they did, and that's why we won. And I just felt like this was a very, very good sign that the Lakers are learning. There were some things, though. The play down the stretch of regulation. LeBron James trying to get the ball to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis ended up getting an offensive foul on Jalen Brunson. Give credit to Jalen Brunson for getting himself in position to draw that foul. But I thought we went too early. We had exactly 24 seconds to go on the shot clock. No tenths of a second attached to it. And the play ended up taking place, leaving them with 4.7 or something like that left on the clock. That's a no-no. These are the type of things that we talk about when we say it's a science to win in basketball games. It's a science to clock management. And that right there, to that science, was an error. We moved too fast, and there should have been no reason for us leaving any possession for the other team. I liken it to being a football team. When you score a touchdown too soon and you leave Tom Brady with an opportunity to take it downfield, it doesn't really matter how much time is left, and it doesn't really matter how many timeouts he has. If you put the ball back in his hands, you leave room for something miraculous to happen. And this is what the strategy is behind clock management and understanding these principles. It's so that you don't put the ball in the other team's hand for them to do something miraculous. And we did that tonight. Luckily enough, Juju didn't hit the 3, but the point was LeBron James and Anthony Davis opened the door for that to happen by not managing the clock properly with those 24 seconds left on that shot clock and game clocks. There should have been no reason with those clocks being simultaneous for the Knicks to ever see the ball back in regulation. Because that happened, we could have failed. Unacceptable. This is what losses are made of, man. It's exactly what losses are made of. You left the other team to either win it or lose, and they just didn't win it. So we gotta understand that, man. These are the type of things that we're talking about. Study those old Laker teams. Study those old Michael Jordan teams. All these old guys that knew how to manage the clock, that used to talk about it. Chick Hearn used to talk about clock management principles. Stu Lance, they used to talk about these things together. When we watch Kobe and it's, all right, how much time they have left? Well, Kobe's not gonna move this soon. We got 10 seconds left, so he's probably gonna want to shoot the ball probably down the stretch of that. He's not going to start his motions till probably about the 7 mark or the 6 mark. Like, these things had a science to it, man. And if you don't understand what those principles are, or you've never been taught those principles, it's time to go back and learn them. Because it's the difference between winning these games and losing these games. Another thing I was thinking about this Knicks game, Laker game, detail-oriented. You had to be very, very, very detail-oriented in order to win a game like this, with everything being so, comparable as it was. I think the Lakers can get a lot better at being detail-oriented. I looked at Max Christie tonight. He played very well. But there was something down the stretch of the game in regards to his usage that I just thought was a head-scratcher. The kid had 5 fouls, and we subbed him out of the game with like 2 minutes to go in the third quarter with that. With 3 seconds left in the third quarter, we subbed him back in with 5 fouls for defensive purposes. That's risky. Why? Because obviously he can foul out. So you don't play him at all in the fourth quarter for that same reason. So it's like, why would you sub him in to get fouled out in the end of the third quarter, but not sub him at all in the fourth quarter just the same? I just didn't understand the usage there. It's like you playing with foul trouble, but then you're reserving that foul problem and reserving it after risking it. It's just very, very, very strange way to play it. So these are the type of things I just want the Lakers to take a look at. No minutes for Wenyen Gabriel tonight. I don't know if that's the best way for us to succeed. We're lucky we were able to win tonight. Rui Hachimura needs to be given all the credit in the world. This is the game we were waiting for Rui, man. 8 out of 12, 19 points, 9 rebounds, I believe it was. Strong +9 on a plus-minus, if I'm not mistaken. This was a good Rui game. This was the one that makes us feel good about trading for him. And, I had seen enough to feel good about him just in general. But I think, like, most Laker fans will say, okay, this guy, we feel all right about him after seeing this particular performance. Troy Brown, his numbers aren't going to tell you he did a whole lot. Plus-minus ain't going to tell you he did a whole lot. But I thought the eye test told me he was very, very key. He only hit 2 threes, but they were the 2 threes we needed him to hit. The rebounds that he got were rebounds we needed him to get. And his defensive play and his ultimately his intangibles out there, I thought, shined a bit more than the stats would be able to show. I just get the feeling that he's the type of guy where you're not about to just bring in my replacement and think that he's about to take my minutes. It's going to be somebody else's minutes he takes. And I just feel like he's reacting well to Rui coming in and being that competition for him. And, Troy Brown is really had a shining road trip thus far. He's killed it in New York and Brooklyn. And I'm looking forward to seeing what else he does on this road trip. Who else are we talking about? Russell Westbrook needs to be given all the credit in the world for just how intent he was on getting the ball to everybody. We've been asking Russell Westbrook to play smarter. We've been criticizing him for not being clutch. We criticize him for the up and down stuff that he does. And this was an up. Simply put, this was an up. We had an up tonight. He did all the stuff that we want to see him do down the stretch of basketball games. He limited his turnovers to 1. I think he was shot like 7 of 15 or something of that nature. So that's pretty solid for him. So just all the stuff you want to see from Russell Westbrook, including just playing sharp and intelligent and clutch, you saw. You know what I mean? One of his better overall Laker games, and I think definitely his best overtime since he's been with his ball club. Good, timely plays, not second-guessing himself, not taking the ones we don't want him to take. 3 steals. I thought his steals were key, jumping in front of Julius Randle, just timing things very well. I just thought he was sharp tonight, man. I really, really thought he was sharp tonight. So I don't think we win this game without every bit of what he did. And to me, he was about as good as anybody. So that's what it felt like to me. I thought the Lakers did some things that were solid tonight. I thought they really helped themselves chemistry-wise. I felt like we worked together tonight. I thought we were working on things that really showed us that we can get away with not just leaning on Patrick Beverley all the time. You know what I mean? I know he does so much for us, but we can survive without him, Coach. And I say that with the most sarcasm possible, bro. At the end of the day, having him removed for the lineup was the best thing in the world because we didn't see any of that funny stuff that Darvin wants to do. Instead, Darvin was forced to do things that he didn't want to do that will result in success for the team that we know is there for him to choose at any time. This was the perfect game for us to see why it's important for for our organization and Rob Pelinka to trade certain players off the squad because it's addition by subtraction. And I'm not going to really like get on Lonnie Walker because I know he's fresh off injury. But I just think it's one of those situations where you just remove the appreciation and everything as it pertains to everything good that you've seen from him. And you just have to look at the truth about the situation when it comes to Lonnie. Lonnie's an expiring contract who started the season off shooting the ball very well. We had nice continuity with him, and he was helping us win by doing a lot of scoring. And he's really dynamic in the open court, and when he can hit the three, he can run it up. We like that about Lonnie. But Lonnie's not a player that you can put in other situations, and we like to have interchangeable pieces. Our coach likes to go small. Sometimes he wants to put Lonnie at the 3. Sometimes he wants to put Lonnie at the 4. You know, sometimes he wants to play him like he did tonight and have him do certain things where it's touch and go. I think Lonnie's probably better in the role that we had for him in the start of the season when he was starting at the shooting guard spot, taking like 17 shots a game, and not asked to take on serious defensive assignments. If you give him a role like that and you let him fly up and down with a bunch of athletes, he's going to assist those athletes by dunking on everybody, shooting the ball and scoring. He's a hell of a weapon in the open court, laying the ball up. He's a sharp weapon. And so for me, I want to keep him. I like him on this team. And I would love for the Lakers to find a way to keep him and find a way to utilize his best strengths. But here's what I know. Because he's an expiring contract and because we have looked fairly good without him, coupled with the fact that our coach really loves to lean on other guards, he's an expendable piece. He's someone we could probably trade and get away with trading. You saw tonight trying to work him back into the equation. It wasn't necessary to have his piece out there tonight for us to win. He deterred what we were doing in a way because he shot so many threes, didn't fall. He didn't really get too many stops, that kind of thing. It was just like working him into the equation tonight did not help the team. And so it's one of those things was like, if we remove him, are we going to miss him? Based on how things have gone this year, if we replace him with the right piece, we probably won't. It's one of those things. Like if everything, all things considered, you're probably best to move Lonnie Walker now. Because we can see that without him, we're fine. Just to be honest. And we still got to understand that Austin's still coming back. So he's going to eat even more into those minutes. So for me, if we were to get rid of Schroeder, Westbrook, obviously we moved Lunn already. If Christie wasn't on the team, all these different things, then I see a role where Lonnie's going to get his best self into what it is we do. But as far as now, we're not better for him because we don't necessarily need his scoring, and he doesn't help us enough defensively. That's what it comes down to. So that's what I'm saying. I think we probably should trade Lonnie, given the fact that he's expiring. We got other people to pay. It just is what it is, man. I just think at this point he's one of our best trade pieces, and he probably should be moved. Even though I personally don't have any problem not, because I like the piece. So it's tricky, but I'm looking at it from what's best for the team, and I just know we need to make moves to get a little better, and that's a guy we could move and not be worse for moving. So it's a harsh truth. Thomas Bryant, coach don't trust him, man. What can I say, guys? He doesn't trust him. I trust Thomas Bryant a lot more than our coach does, and I'm getting annoyed by the fact that we can't seem to get him out there for more than 11 minutes in a game like this, when Hartenstein is dunking all over us, and Julius Randle's on the floor. I understand that matchups will determine a lot of things, but I just feel like Thomas Bryant, for the most part, has earned more minutes than we're given, just like Wenyen Gabriel. And I just feel like this was yet another game where I say to myself, like Lonnie Walker, I got a piece down there that's very valuable. If this coach ain't going to use him, I need to trade him for something. Because I'm not going to sit here, let him expire, have him walk, not utilize him properly for what it is that he did, and know that I could have traded him at the deadline. I'm not going to do that. So that's something we need to talk about a little bit further as the deadline approaches. After tonight's game, there are certain players that I absolutely don't want to trade, that I absolutely will trade based on what I'm seeing. And it ain't their fault. It ain't even based on their play. It's about how we're utilizing the team, what our team's needs is, and where we're headed. That water was needed. That water was very needed. But this is a situation where I'm saying, okay, we got some assessment here. We understand that we're not leaning on some of the players that we thought we were. as much when AD's back. Like I said, we have more of a rope to get away with more, make more mistakes, I guess you can say. Guys are stepping forward. Troy Brown, the other TB, is stepping forward now. So we have a bit more faith in him. Rui Hachimura is stepping forward now. We have a lot more faith that he can take on more roles, do more on the defensive end. And that's another thing. I just want to say that Rui's played better defense tonight than I'd seen him play in the first 2 games. I thought he did some good things against Julius Randle. And, that was something I wanted to say, because I know that the defense is a little iffy. We're not sure how to feel about him defensively just yet. I thought he took some steps in the right direction. Big body player, man. I like him running the floor for us, catching the ball in situations where the team is sleeping on the defensive side, in transition, and just making easy buckets happen for ourselves. He gets down the court quick, and he's a heck of a target in the open court. Now that I'm finding out that he can put the ball on the floor a little better than he looked like he did that first game with us. So, as we continue to learn Rui, his offensive packages, shooting the ball, jumpers, mid-range, all that stuff is just going to continue to get better. We got to try not to put him in awkward positions to shoot corner 3-point shots. I think we're still trying to figure out where he can shoot the ball, and we're kind of giving him those elbow threes off of passes from the top of the 3-point line. They just don't really seem to be good angles for him. Maybe on the right side, I think he hit that on the right side, but that left side, we ran it a couple times. Didn't work. So there's just little stuff I'm watching that I'm picking up on that I think can work in our favor if we just continue to learn the player and allow him to showcase what he can do. And the synergy's there. Bron is learning to trust him. AD, they're trusting him, and I'm loving what I'm seeing out of that. That synergy is developing quickly. What else? Max Christie. There was some key things happening with Max Christie tonight, and I can tell you exactly what I saw there. Max Christie's got 5 fouls tonight, as we already discussed. He hit 2 3-point shots. As I tell you, that 3-point shot has been falling all season long. He's one of the best 3-point shooters we got. And the thing about it was, the fouls that he picked up tonight were just fouls that come from being a rookie and not being on the floor. That's what I talk about. If our coach would have played him like he played all these other guys, we would have seen situations like tonight just not happy. He would have been more used to the NBA game by now as to not foul in the way that he did tonight. Bumping fouls, stay down, so to speak, fouls where guys are pump faking and stuff like that. That's what happened to Max Christie tonight. He was a rookie, and the team's other players on the other side knew that. And they attacked him in ways that they can't get away with going up against second year, third year, fourth, and et cetera year guys. But a second year rookie who doesn't get any playing time, he's gonna bite for all the fakes. He gonna be able to be bumped off of and shot over and little stuff like that just comes with not having no dang playing time. So this is what I'm saying. Like, Darvin Ham's dropped the ball on Max Christie to a degree this season, because I think we've needed him all year long because of his length and what it is that he does, rebounding the ball and shooting the ball. And now, in a situation where you want him to be a rotation player, he don't know what the hell he's doing because you ain't played him. So now you got to go through the process of him learning those mistakes now, when he should have been learning those mistakes in the first 2 months of the season. But this goes to philosophy. It's like you want to treat a rookie like a rookie, so normally this would be fine. But not when it comes to your needs, not when the guards that you're playing are all my height. So this is just Lakers strategizing backwards. And now you found yourself tonight where he couldn't go to the poison pill, Patrick Beverley, and was forced to do the stuff that you want to see every night. And what you saw was most of that stuff has not been used together, so the continuity wasn't there. It's like, just why have we gotten used to what we've gotten used to? Wasn't that what I was saying 2 nights ago? Here we are. Players we know we need to see, not used to playing with one another. So I was happy with what we saw by default, and I just pray we can get a trade for Patrick Beverley immediately so we can finally see this be what Darvin has to choose from every night. Because Dennis Schroeder was a good player tonight because he didn't play so much with shorter people. He was a plus 20, doing some of the same stuff, 13 points, 4 assists. He didn't have no different numbers, but he wasn't on the floor with a bunch of people who couldn't help him. As simple as that. He wasn't on the floor with people who couldn't help him. And I'm telling you, everything rotating around Patrick Beverley is the centerpiece of all of it. Because you're going to play him, and then you're going to put the other guards on the floor around him to make sure their minutes make sense. That's what's happening there. He got to play Dennis Schroeder because he can get his minutes. He got to play Russell Westbrook because he got to get his minutes. He's going to work Lonnie in there. He's going to get his minutes. So as a result, you got 4 guards on the floor because he's sure ain't going to remove Patrick Beverley in the process of all of that. It's awful. And if all you got to do is remove Patrick Beverley from the equation, and he's forced to do the stuff he's supposed to do. So this is what I'm saying. Organizational decisions by the Lakers. This is something I identified should have been done about a month and a half ago. I'd have traded Patrick Beverley as soon as I realized this man is overusing it. It's just like I said about Frank Vogel. As soon as I realized Frank Vogel was running small ball and it was costing us as early as 3 weeks into the season, he would have been removed last year. And we would have added a center to the team to ensure we had the size. Like, these are things you do when you're driven by competitiveness. These are things you do when you're fearful of allowing your things you can control to cause you to fail. It's like, nah, we can do something about that. Let me get this player out of here, pull this player in, etc. Jay Huff is a player that should have been already called up. I hear he's leading the entire G League in shot blocking right now. Like, what the hell? What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? And I look up and I see Damian Jones down there. What is it, 7th game in a row? He didn't get no minutes? Oh, I forgot they did put him on the floor in the last game with the last, it was 2 seconds to go in the game, and he ended up falling out of bounds, getting a couple fouls or something like that for the last minute of the game. I mean, he doesn't play for us, y'all. And when we do play him, nothing. So for me, it's like that's a waste of a roster spot. And then you got a whole open roster spot that Casper's filling right now. You got great G League talent breaking records basically in the G League, showcasing our team in the All-Star game as G League talent while we sit up here and struggle with guys that don't even run. I will not ignore that. I will not equate that to LeBron James not having enough talent around him and not being happy, and Anthony Davis constantly going out with injury and us tumbling down the standings. It's because we be subbing in JTA, subbing in players that can't help us. Half a season with Kendrick Nunn, bricking shots. You know what I'm saying? What you want me to say? That team just ain't good enough? That ain't true. It ain't true. Because you see tonight, when he's forced to do what he's supposed to do, what happened? We won. We won a close basketball game in overtime. What was the main difference? What wasn't there? That one thing that he can't get away from that hurts the hell out of us. Simply put, you would be absolutely amazed how many wins we'll get if we just stop this. And Patrick was excellent over there in street clothes, talking to players, doing all that stuff that he normally does on the court, just on the sidelines as a coach, helping the team. I promise you that's exactly where he needs to be. He'll have just as much of an impact. No different. Absolutely no different. So I'm tired of this. I'm sick of it because tonight showed me exactly what I want to see. Size, continuity, decency in regards to our rotations, players who need to be on the floor at the right time, with the exception, of course, of our coach not playing Wenyen Gabriel. But everything else was fine. Thomas Bryant, I would have liked to seen him more. I really would. Especially when I see Hartenstein rebounding over Bron and AD both at the same time. So that's also something. But nevertheless, we weren't small. He may not have played our centers, but we weren't small. And I got to credit Rob Pelinka for making the trade in order for that to happen. And I just want him to make this next one to get this next thing done so we can have this continuity I'm talking about, man. And then Max Christie can find himself in situations where he gets all these mistakes out of his system, so he ain't going to be biting on Emmanuel quickly pump fakes by the time the playoffs come around. He ain't gonna be making those mistakes. You ain't gonna be able to just barrel into his chest and then bounce off of him and shoot a jumper because he wasn't wise enough to stay steady in that situation. Those are things that happen when you're a rookie and your coach ain't played you at all, and now you want to throw you out there against the best. That's what happens. Speaking of the best, I'm telling y'all, this is year 3 for Jalen Brunson. If he keeps this up, he's gonna be in the Hall of Fame. I'm telling you right now. He attacks you technically. That's what he does. He's shooting from spots nobody's defending at a high clip. And I don't think he's going to be figured out anytime soon. So this is the beginning of something with Jalen Brunson. I'm telling y'all. He's not going to stop this. He had 37 points tonight. I don't see any reason as he continues to get comfortable in this league for him to continue to do what he does at that level all the time. Nobody knows this yet, but he's going to end up being one of them NBA greats. I see it coming. It's just in how his game attacks you and how efficient he is in what it is that he does. It's a no-brainer at this point. That's going to be a star. So just be prepared for what I'm telling you. He's not going to blow you out the water. He's just going to continue to hit teardrops and little baby floaters from like 8 feet away and bank shots from like 7 feet away and get to the line and be highly efficient from the line. And he's going to hit his threes. And then on the other side, he's going to defend well enough to help with continuity for his team. And then he can shoot 27 shots, and he's going to be as efficient as he is tonight because all of his shots are shots that nobody's defending. I'm telling you, he's killing you from the scorecards. And when people figure out what it is he's doing, they can shut him down completely. But until they figure out what he's doing, they ain't going to shut him down at all. And I'm telling you, this league ain't even built to defend what he's doing. They're not even built like that. So he's gonna make a lot of all-star teams. He probably end up winning this championship too. Because down the stretch of basketball games, he's gonna be able to carve you up the same way he is doing out the first 3 quarters. Because like I said, he's attacking places that nobody knows how to defend yet. So I don't think they're gonna figure it out anytime soon either. Yeah, Jalen Brunson, look out. RJ Barrett did not play well tonight. That's the thing about RJ. They paid him a lot of money, but he is very inconsistent, man. You know, he's got a little Troy Brown in him. One night he's going for 50. The next night he's going for 15? It's just his confidence just sways up and down, up and down, up and down. He's just a very high-level player, but he doesn't have it all together yet. And tonight was one of them nights. And, you know, Julius, the same thing. I thought Julius Randle was not focused tonight, man. He's got a lot of energy, but he wasn't smart juju tonight, man. He was doing all kind of stuff out there. I'm like, bro, I do not miss any of that stuff. Some of that stuff Julius used to do, he did tonight for the New York Knicks. And I just sat there saying, yep. This is why I did not mind us letting him go. I didn't want us to let him walk. But the way he guarded LeBron James down the stretch of that basketball game when Bron went up for that 3-point shot, with his hands down behind his back to the side, not fighting around the screen, I'm like, Julius, I don't know how you going to be able to go back to Thibodeau, a defensive-minded coach, and convince him that was the right thing for you to do. Because I'm telling you, bro, I would have been pulling my hair all the way out. You never, ever defend anybody like that. Not the way Julius defended LeBron on that 3-point shot down the stretch of that basketball game in overtime. In regulation, I believe it was. Kudos for Bron for hitting the shot. But Bron will be the first one to tell you. He was by himself there. There wasn't nobody defending him. It was awful. So that's what I want to say, man. There's just a lot of stuff down there I was appreciative of that came from the Knicks side. It really played into our hands. They played hard. You got to give credit to Quickly. But as I told you guys at the beginning of the video, Quentin Grimes' 3-point shot ain't falling. We were right that boy shot his team out of it a little bit. Some of the other guys, it was just a lot of brick shots, you know. A lot of 3-point shots didn't get made from that team. RJ Barrett was an offer there. You know, our side as well. We had some bad shooting on our end as well. I don't quite remember who all was shooting poorly, but it came together for us to ultimately shoot somewhere around 30-something% from behind the arc. So it wasn't exactly the best. But all in all, we want to give credit to everybody. I think it was a good team win. Like I said, we saw continuity, a intent to get the ball to AD in the second half and in overtime, which I'm really proud of. And I want to give credit to Russell Westbrook specifically for spearheading that, for making damn sure that we didn't get away from that. I thought he was an absolute point guard tonight. And we don't usually say that about him. He's a lot of different things, but not a floor general. And tonight, he was spearheading the team's agenda, which I think is ultimately a big part of having faith in Russell Westbrook. So big ups to Russell Westbrook, man, finding his confidence in New York. Big up to LeBron James for just giving us heavy scoring and continuing to let the triple-double guide him. You know what I mean? That's what that was. We appreciate the production. Anthony Davis fighting through all kinds of falling all over the ground, playing defense, banging up against players, pushing and shoving, all of that. Rui Hachimura running the floor, hitting shots, rebounding the ball. All of it, man. I just saw a lot of good from my team tonight, even though we could have did some things better. I thought we had done some things better. You know what I mean? The progression is there. We won a close game in overtime on the road against a playoff team. So that's a big deal, man. Should be proud of this one. Let's sit on it for a minute and then get ready for the next game. I believe it's against Indiana in a few nights. It's probably Friday or something like that. Early game, likely, since it's in the East Coast. But this has been a good road trip so far, man. Especially since we're incorporating new pieces and guys coming back from injury and all that. This has been a good road trip so far. So I want the Lakers to just enjoy this win and then get ready for the next one. That's what I got to say, man. BDL 44. I thank y'all for watching.